What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well. It is Friday, October 13th, Friday the 13th, and today I'm gonna make a fall update. I am very sorry. I did not make one before. I actually made one in September, but I I didn't lose my phone, but my phone broke, so I lost that footage, so I couldn't post it. And it was just so close to the end of the month that I just said screw it and decided to wait till now just to give an update. This is kind of like a year wrap up, because this is probably the last that all these plants will be out here and alive. So I just kind of wanted to make an update and kind of how everything did this year and whatnot, and kind of just a wrap up on everything. And I'll start over here and I'll make my way down over here and then get the front yard as usual. It's really nice out. It's 70 degrees currently. We got a nice fall breeze. All the trees are different colors. We got some of our deciduous plants over here, the figs, losing their leaves too, as well as all these guys. So couldn't feel more like fall right now. Couldn't feel more like October. And it is shorts weather still, so just perfect weather outside. Perfect weather, and it's supposed to be really nice this weekend. We're going to get up to the 80s again, which is kind of a surprise. I think Sunday, Monday, and then it's going to cool off to the 60s. So definitely getting cooler. As you can see, just leaves everywhere. This tree has lost all its leaves in the span of like a week or two. And I've been pulling extra hours at work, so I haven't had time to clean this up. But I think it looks cool. I think it looks really cool. And we got a bunch of trees over here. We got some magnolias. Their leaves haven't changed yet. Anyway, let's start over here. This is kind of a year in wrap up. I'm hoping it doesn't drop below freezing for at least another month, maybe a month and a half, which is possible. But normally, within I'd say the second week of November is when we get our first frost. So about a month from now. So this is the last month everything will be alive. And there is some work I still have to do on some of these plants. First off, we have our elephant ear. Didn't grow too much this year, but it looks really pretty, especially with the leaves there. Still looking tropical, but I think we're going to lose this guy. We'll see if it comes. I'm not going to do anything. Maybe I'll mulch it a little bit, and we're going to see if it comes back next year. Next, we got our Musabashi Japanese banana. It pushed out another leaf, but this one doesn't look too great. Got some discoloring and whatnot, but it's grown this year. Not as much as I would have liked, but it still grew a little bit. So for the frost, I'm thinking maybe I cut these leaves off, because if I cut all the leaves off and left this guy up, I would really only have to protect it to about this tall, and this is about mouth level for me, so just below nose level, so it wouldn't be hard to protect at all. What I'd probably do is buy a really cheap greenhouse from Amazon or a garden center. I'm going to go to a garden center today to see if they have any cool plants on sale. Edwards Greenhouse, I'm probably going to go there today. What I do is I'd cut all these leaves off, throw them at the base. I'd mulch it heavily, and I'd get a secure greenhouse and wrap it up and keep it warm during the winter. But I don't know how it would do. Worst comes to worst, though, it dies back to the ground. It comes back in the spring. But I would rather have it start from here next spring. But it's still getting sun, so it's still growing. Although it's slowed down drastically, it's going to keep growing for the next few weeks. Although slowly, it's going to keep growing. And since these trees are losing their leaves, it's going to get a lot more sun the next few weeks, so that's good. Little strawberry didn't do anything this year, but I'll just kind of let it do its own thing this winter. It should survive here, no problem. Yeah, this guy didn't do too good either. The elderberry. I'll give it another chance next year. I was thinking about ripping it out and replacing it with some grapes, but we'll see what happens this winter and next spring. Next, the sago palm. Okay, this thing's covered in leaves. However, we got a whole new crown shaft out, and it looks gorgeous. Whole new set of leaves. Also, some of these pots, the soil's a little messed up in them because we had some of the squirrels are getting in here. It's not cold enough to mulch it yet, but probably within the next few weeks. I'm gonna mulch everything, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, the squirrels kind of dug all this soil out, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, this thing pushed a bunch of new fronds, so it's looking happy, looking healthy. And it grew quite a bit this year for a sago palm in a pot. Next, we have our satsuma. Pushed out a bunch of stuff. Same with this Meyer lemon. Looks kind of like a mess. Bit of a mess right now. So, in the next few days, I'm going to trim this and maybe the satsuma up a little bit, because you're supposed to trim these up in the fall. So I'm going to trim them up, make them look pretty, and it should help with fruit production. I'm really hoping we get something on this guy next year, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to try to treat it right this winter. They can be very sensitive when you're moving them inside, so you have to be very careful with them. But I'm definitely going to try to get this thing to flower for me. I think they flower in the spring, so I'm definitely going to try to get this thing to flower for me this spring. But it looks good. It looks really healthy. It's loved the heat this summer. It's really enjoyed it. I have a feeling I'll probably need to trim down here more, because these citrus plants, they're more bushes than trees, so I'm going to make it look a little more bushy. Next we have the needle palm. This thing was taken off lately. Pushed a couple of fronds this year. Still grew kind of slow, but it did better than last year. And there are a bunch of leaves in here, but this needle palm is looking beautiful. I'm going to let it see cold temperatures this year, probably 25 degrees, along with the trachea. 25 or 26 degrees, I think, so it'll be out for, honestly, a while longer. Probably through, later November, maybe early December. We're estimated to have a pretty warm winter this year, El Nino. So it might be drier too. I'm not sure what that means. I think it means warmer and drier. So that'll definitely be good for the palm trees this year. I don't know how cold I want this thing to see, because it had some damage on its previous fronds from last year. That might have been from the cold, but it could have been from something else. So I'm really not too sure. So I don't think I'll let this thing see below 30 this year in the pot. But if it gets more damage on its new fronds, then we'll see what it is. But it looks good right now. But yeah, everything over here looking great except this guy. If it's starting to suffer next year, I'll rip it out, but I'll give it another chance. I was going to rip it out this fall, but I decided not to. I'll just let it do its thing next year. And I was going to replace it with some grapes, which I have some grapes. I was going to plant the grapes, but I think I'll just leave them in the pot for this winter. I haven't had the time to do much garden work this year. The other two hibiscus plants recovering nicely. They shouldn't be able to handle zone 7, no problem. So I'll probably plant them in. I was thinking about planting them this fall. I have a place for them. But I might just wait till the spring. We'll see. Next, the ponytail grew quite a bit this year. Does need a nice trim. So I might give it the trim in the spring, but I might give it the trim in the fall, but we'll see. Some of these are just falling right off for me. But yeah, this thing is definitely rooted in this year, and it was left out in 20-something degree weather, almost died, but came back. This thing is just a champ. So glad to see it's doing well. I didn't really take care of this too much this year. Next off, we have the trachea. There's a bunch of leaves on it as well. This thing was a champ this year. Grew like crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna let it see the cold, because it handled the cold along with the sago, or not the sago, but the needle palm, no problem last year, and it's getting a lot more sun in the fall. It's still growing. We got this new frond opening up right now, but I think that's all it'll push this year. I'll be lucky if it pushes this guy, but I doubt it will. But it's looking fantastic. Loving this fall weather. Next, we have the tropical hibiscus. Recovered very nicely, and like the citrus, I'm going to try to really take care of it this winter. I neglected it last winter, and I didn't do the right process for bringing it inside, but it looks really good now, and it's grown quite a bit, so I'm going to take care of it this winter, and we'll get some nice flowers next year if I properly take care of it. Who knows, maybe we'll get some this winter as well. Next we have the Black Mission fig. Grew a little bit this year, but was kind of disappointed in it. No fruit, but I think that's my own fault, so I'm gonna trim it heavy this winter. I don't know if I'm gonna try to sprout these, the cuttings, or root the cuttings like I did with these, because I don't know what to do with these little cuttings. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get fruit on it next year. It's losing its leaves now, so it's a little bare, but growth-wise it did well this year. I'm hoping to get some fruit off of it next year. Next we have our olive. Grew a bunch this year in its little pot. I know if I would have given it a bigger pot, which I probably should have done, it would have grown like crazy this year. But next year, I'm going to take care of it, and I'm going to have this little Abercornian olive grow really well. Next, we have this sable palmetto. This thing hasn't grown at all this year until now. It's starting to push this little guy out, but it's growing very slowly. Very, very slowly. So I don't think I'll let it see that much cold, especially since this is a variety from Florida. We have our fig cuttings, all of which are doing pretty well. I gave one away to a subscriber of mine, along with one of the California fan palm seedlings. I just got another one of these here. I might try to get rid of these, might make another video on trying to get rid of these 3 cuttings in that California fan palm. People are really going to want this one more than these 3, but I assure you, these 3 figs, give it a year or 2, they'll produce really well for you. Next we have the tomatoes. Probably the best tomato harvest I've ever had this year. They're not looking good, but they did perform really well for how they look. I've gotten at least 50, 60 fruits off of it this year, but honestly I've lost count. But it's wild how well they did, and they have more fruits on them now. I just need to ripen, and some pretty big ones for being cherry tomatoes. So a lot left. So this thing is not done producing. I think it's going to keep going until the frost hits, and then that's it. Got some more right here. Next we have the bell pepper. I got a few fruits off of this, but we got a bunch of little guys on there right now growing. So yeah, a bunch of little guys on here right now. So until the frost hits, I still have faith in it. Next we have these grapes that I bought. They're losing their leaves, it looks like, but they have some fruits on them. So who knows? Maybe we'll get some grapes, but maybe not. I was going to plant these this winter, but I think I'm going to wait till next year. They should be able to handle this cold just fine. I got these for next to nothing, so if I did lose them, it wouldn't be a big deal. Got a little California fan palm right here cutting. It's doing all right. Hopefully I'll give that away by this fall or next spring. Next is the Chicago Hardy fig. It's losing its leaves right now for the winter, but we had a bunch of fruits and they're delicious. We have some more ripening right now, so this thing is not done for the year yet. It's still holding on, but I think it's going to lose all its leaves pretty soon. But yes, this thing produced very well for me this year. To be honest, I only bought it because there were already figs on it. And I hear they can handle these winters no problem. These are the cold hardiest figs out there, the Chicago Hardy, so should be fine in this pot this winter. So I'll probably do the same thing I'm doing with that fig over there. Cut it down, and I'll cut it down probably in December or January when it's the coldest. But yeah, I don't think I'll try to root some cuttings off of these 2 this year, but if anybody wants the cuttings, just feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to mail you or give you the cuttings in person. Let's check out the front. Before I get to the front, I wanted to show you guys this. This was the biggest sunflower I had, the first one that bloomed, covered in sunflower seeds. Just letting it dry out here in the garage, but it's absolutely covered in sunflower seeds. I actually tore a lot of these sunflowers down because their heads got ripped off by, I think, squirrels, because they wanted these sunflower seeds, but I was able to save this plant. We got so many of them. So I'll either use them to produce, or I could eat them, or maybe both, but we'll see. Right, next we got the 3 palms. First one's this Mexican fan palm. Hasn't been doing great, unfortunately, so I might lose it. Next is the European fan palm. Hasn't grown too much, but it's been surviving. Doesn't really look any worse for wear, kind of just looks the same. So no complaints on here, but kind of wish it did a little bit better this year. So nothing really too much to say on these two. Next we have the California fan palm. This thing did magnificent this year. I'm gonna have to repot it as the roots are already digging into the ground. This thing is naturally losing its little baby fronds, so I don't really have to worry about trimming it this year, because it's kind of doing its own thing. But yeah, this one's a little stuck on there, so there we go. But yeah, this thing lost its baby fronds just fine, and it's producing split fronds, and it grew really well this year. It's kind of slowing down due to the lack of sunlight and heat now, but it'll do good next year, I guarantee it. This thing was one of the best growers for me this year. Just stunning. It grew twice its size. So take a look at my videos that I produced the beginning of this year and then now. Just a world of difference. I can't wait to see how this thing grows next year. Our wildflowers, like I said, I cut down a lot of the sunflowers. We still got some blooming, but most of them I cut down or ripped out of the ground. These wildflowers are going absolutely crazy. Even though it's cooling off a bit, these things are not stopping. They are producing flowers like crazy, which are attracting lots of bees. You got our two filamentosas doing pretty good. Didn't grow too much, but produced a nice flower this year. As you can see, just all these wildflowers, just absolutely crazy. Just still, we got such a nice bloom going on. You got the Spanish dagger. This frond, I just noticed, broke, unfortunately. But the rest of it's doing good. It really started to take off near the end of the summer. Ice plant doing good. Our two agaves right here doing really well. These two are producing shoots like crazy right now. Bunch of offspring. Esperalo doing pretty good. Nothing too much changing from it, but it's doing good. I'm gonna have to cut that stalk off. Our Joshua tree's been growing a little bit. Got our other yucca. What's this one called? Torii. Picking up speed. A lot of the ice plant on it died, but some of it's still doing well and growing, so I'm sure it'll do well next year. I'll try not to neglect it as much. I'm probably rip this thing out next spring. Unfortunately, it didn't do too well, the rose bush. Kind of wild though, upsetting. I was hoping it'd do well. We got this guy. This one's doing surprisingly well, even though it was neglected. Just kind of put in the ground and left there. Sprinklers didn't really hit it, so kind of surprising it did well. We got more wildflowers. We got this guy right here. Ingotissima. This thing is totally foolproof here. Survives down to zone 4, so it grew a little bit this year, but I have total faith in it this winter. Another thing that did magnificent this year also got messed up by squirrels in the pot. This Pindo palm. Love this location. It grew like a beast this year. Absolute beast. I'm gonna let it see some cold, but absolute beast this year. It grew easily like 3 or 4 inches just this summer alone, but it's just been producing fronds like crazy. I'm so glad to see it because last year it didn't do really well, but it was okay. So I'm glad to see how well it's doing. This thing is gorgeous. I'll probably give it more heat next year, or I don't know. It did well over here, so maybe I'll put it back over here next spring and summer. Anyway, guys, long video today, but a lot to talk about. A lot of changes. Again, I'm sorry I haven't posted in a really long time. I'll try to make some more videos this weekend and next week. Work has just been crazy, and life has been busy. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate the support from everybody, and I'll try to be more, I guess, available to post videos. So I'm just glad I could do this for right now, though. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.